When Calls the Heart Season 13 will welcome back Brooke Shields as Charlotte Thornton for 3 episodes, and her appearance could spell trouble for couple Elizabeth Thornton and Nathan Grant. Elizabeth, Erin Krakow, was married to Charlotte's son Jack, Daniel Lissing, a Mountie who died in a landslide during a training mission in Season 5. Charlotte last appeared in 2 Season 3 episodes of the cherished Hallmark series, and, although it was a decade ago, she's still a beloved character. Charlotte resurfaced in When Calls the Heart Season 12 when Elizabeth and Jack's son, little Jack, Highland Goodrich, was diagnosed with diabetes. Though she wasn't seen on screen, she wrote Elizabeth a letter insisting to her that little Jack would receive better care in Cape Fullerton than Hope Valley. Charlotte currently runs a boarding house in Cape Fullerton. After reading the letter, Elizabeth complained to her best friend, Rosemary Coulter, Pascal Hutton, because she was offended when she thought that Charlotte was questioning her parenting methods. Little Jack's diabetes seemed under control and she and Dr. Faith Carter, Andrea Brooks, agreed that staying in his home with his loved ones was what was best for him at that time. However, when little Jack received insulin that wasn't properly refrigerated and became ill again, Dr. Carter advised Elizabeth to take him to Cape Fullerton. They left that night, and Nathan and his niece adoptive daughter, Allie, Jada Lily Miller, surprised them at the last minute and joined them for the trip. Although Elizabeth and Nathan's relationship seemed solid in When Calls the Heart Season 12, Charlotte's reappearance could change everything. Little Jack's interest in his father will have Elizabeth thinking about him again. Charlotte's return will bring Jack to the forefront. When Calls the Heart Season 13 will feature little Jack bonding with his grandmother, and getting to know more about his father in the process. According to Variety, Season 13 will show a heartwarming connection between Charlotte and her grandson, little Jack, Highland Goodrich, as she helps him reconnect with memories of his father. Michelle Vickery, head of programming, Hallmark Media, stated, "We're thrilled to welcome back Brooke Shields to the When Calls the Heart family. Her first appearance on the series was memorable for our fans, and we know the Hearties will be delighted to see Charlotte's emotional and heartwarming reunion." Elizabeth has always kept Jack's memory alive for their son, including giving him Jack's Commissioner's Medal, the highest Mountie honor, which was found 7 years after his death when the landslide site was excavated. Little Jack is very proud of his father, so visiting with his grandmother and learning more about him will surely bring him back to the forefront of his life. Now that little Jack is old enough to understand his grief about the loss of the father he never met, Elizabeth will have to guide him through it, and Charlotte is the perfect person to help her do that. Charlotte will be the connection between little Jack and his dad. However, this could cause Nathan to feel out of place in their lives as Jack's memory becomes more real to little Jack. This will also lead to Elizabeth thinking about Jack again. Memories of her life with Jack will surely come flooding back to her as she spends time with his mother. Charlotte will presumably tell little Jack stories about his dad, which will touch Elizabeth's heart as she remembers the first man that she ever truly loved. Bonding with her former mother-in-law could open old wounds for Elizabeth. Nathan might feel threatened by Jack's memory. Nathan blamed himself for Jack's death. When Calls the Heart's Erin Krakow, Elizabeth Thornton, and Daniel Lissing, Jack Thornton, smiling on the set. Credit, Hallmark Channel via Moviestills DB. Living with Jack's mother will also be difficult for Nathan during When Calls the Heart Season 13 because he blamed himself for Jack's death because he was supposed to be on the mission during which Jack was killed. However, Elizabeth has since reassured him that it wasn't his fault. It'll be interesting to see if Charlotte is informed about Nathan's involvement in her son's death. Jack's memory could definitely put a strain on Elizabeth and Nathan's relationship when Jack's mother meets the new man in Elizabeth's life. Nathan might feel that he'll never live up to Jack's memory, while Elizabeth could realize that her relationship with Nathan isn't as strong as her romance with Jack. In addition, Jack will become even more real for little Jack as he meets the woman who gave birth to him and raised him. Little Jack hasn't had a real connection to anyone from Jack's family, so it'll be sweet to see him spend quality time with another person who knew him well. Nathan might feel threatened by this, and believe that he can never live up to Jack's memory, or be a true father figure to little Jack. This could strain his relationship with Elizabeth. Elizabeth will never truly be over Jack. Jack is the love of Elizabeth's life. When Calls the Heart's Erin Krakow, Elizabeth Thornton, and Daniel Lissing, Jack Thornton, promotional photo. Credit, Hallmark Channel via Moviestills DB. When Calls the Heart has established that Jack was the love of Elizabeth's life. His death shattered her and prevented her from being with Nathan initially. During the Season 10 finale, Elizabeth visited Jack's grave and told him that she'd gotten engaged to Lucas Bouchard, Chris McNally, because he was a safe choice for her. This implied that she'd shied away from a romance with Nathan because he was also a Mountie, and she was afraid of experiencing such a great loss again. Reuniting with Jack's mother will not only remind Elizabeth that she and Jack shared a once-in-a-lifetime love, but that Nathan is a Mountie, and his job has serious risks. It's very possible that she'll be overwhelmed by these feelings, and that she won't be able to deal with them. This, combined with her stress due to little Jack's illness, might be too much for her. She's always been terrified of losing the people she loves. Although Charlotte most likely won't intentionally try to come between Elizabeth and Nathan, her return to Elizabeth and little Jack's life will almost certainly have Elizabeth remembering Jack and thinking about the life that they could have had together if he'd lived. This could ruin Elizabeth and Nathan's romantic relationship. While they'll most likely always be friends, it's highly possible that Charlotte's reappearance could lead to problems for Elizabeth and Nathan.